with Truist TV and I'm back with another video. I'm gonna let this woman speak for herself because this is something that needed to be
Once you
said.
have the conscious, not all African Americans came from Africa. We were a global melanated planet, which means we were absolutely everywhere.
And not
Melanated people were not
Africans. She just
only
means people
on the
with
continent of
melanin.
Africa, we were everywhere.
Thank you.
But part of the imprisoning of our consciousness
Yep.
has come from making us feel like we were only in some parts, and Europe belonged to the Mzungus, and Asia belonged to the Asians, and Africa belonged to the Africans. It's a global invasion, beloveds. We were everywhere. And so there are those African American brothers and sisters. I'm sorry I keep calling you African American. Native American, who just know, they feel such a connection to that land.
To America.
But they created this narrative like everyone was a slave, and that's how they were able to disenfranchise
Amen. Say it,
the
girl.
few that weren't taken out in the invasion and kind of box them up in.
Because when the
with the slaves. Move out of the cities, beloveds, but get yourself a piece of land and affect the destiny of the land and the nation. It makes you a custodian, and this is something we've never been told. And this is why Babylon has gone and tried to buy land all over the world.
And I wanted to just keep on further going. But this, if you ever read the book from Benjamin Franklin of Mankind, Benjamin Franklin let you know every nation that had brown skin. I'll go read it. Here's the book right here, and I'm going to read a passage in this book. You can take this book out and read it for yourself, but I'm going to read the passage. This is not going to be a long video, y'all. Here we go. So I had to try to find the reading passage. This is from the Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind by Benjamin Franklin. This is in the book part 2. And he goes on to talk, and he says, and since detachment of English from Britain sent to America will have their place at home so soon supplied and increased so largely here, why should the Palestine Boers be suffered to swarm into our settlements and be herding together establish their language and manners to the exclusion of ours? He then goes on to say, why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of our Anglifying them, and will never adapt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion? Which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionably very small. All Africans is black and tawny. He's talking about hues of complexion, y'all. All Africans are black or tawny. Asia, chiefly tawny. America, exclusive of newcomers. Okay, exclusive of the people who started coming in. Wholly so. So he's letting you know America, also black and tawny. Wholly so means they are too. Wholly so. Look it up. And in Europe. So America is black and tawny, y'all. Black and tawny was found in the Americas. Wholly so. And in Europe, the Spaniards, the Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion. Swarthy means black, okay? It means very dark. Swarthy. Swarthy means black, brown, tawny. It's all in that realm. It just means it's very dark. That person is dark. He's letting there, and he's not talking about their hair or their eye color. He's talking about, what did he say? Complexion. Complexion is to your face, which means when you're first seen. So he's letting you know all these nations around the world are black and tawny. Tawny means brown, right? He letting you know they're just various shades of brown. Chiefly tawny, meaning that people in Asia were brown, but they could have been cinnamon, right? They could have been varying in shades, right, of brown, which we are, as a so-called black folk. So he letting you know all these nations that had black, tawny people in it, right? So he said Africa is black and tawny, meaning that they're dark skin, very dark, and some light brown, right? Or some brownish, have a brownish hue that can vary. So they're all different spectrums of brown, right? Because nobody's black. And it goes Asia, chiefly tawny. America, Wholly so. These people are all ranging in different shades of brown. And in Europe, and the Spaniards, and the Italians, and the French, and the Russians, and the Swedes are generally of what we call swarthy complexions. And then he goes on to say, as are the Germans. Germans, which people will tell you a white person, the Germans that were killing the Jews in back in the Holocaust. Those are not Germans. Those aren't the original Germans. Anyway, though a lot of white people don't say this, but they are of a Slavic race. A lot of them, they're Slavics that was in the Ottoman slave trade, right? And this is what people do not talk about. These different races that they call themselves, did they live in some of these areas? I'm certain of it, I'm certain they lived in Germany. They live in all these different areas. But they came from a Slavic nation. I did a video about this a while back with a young girl who wrote an article saying that my people... What is it? The article was called "My People." Slavics. The word "slave" derived from "my people." That's what she said. Because the Germans gave that name to the Slavic race. But anyway, he goes, okay, going back, he said, and in Europe, the Spaniards, Italian, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only accepted who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. I could wish their numbers were increased. And while we are, as I may call it, scouring our planet by cleaning America of woods, and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light. To the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus, why should we, in the sight of superior beings, so there go white supremacy starting, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity, right? So they're talking about the opportunity, so fair, even though... Anyway, by excluding all blacks and tawnies, all right, anybody that's dark skinned and of the brown hue. So they were excluding them, right? So he's like, we excluding them, we separating ourselves from them, right? And why would we increase it by bringing? This is why I let you know that the African slave trade did not happen the way they said. They did not bring Africans over here, because look at what Benjamin Franklin is saying. He said, why would we? This enterprise for us is helping us out. Why would we increase already what is here in America when we trying our best to exclude and disenfranchise and tear apart what they had already, what these black and tawny people have already set up in America? Why would we do such a thing? And you get what I mean? So he said, why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity, right? Because they're talking about success in making it, right? By excluding all blacks and tawnies, of increasing the lovely white and red. Now, but perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country, for such kind of partiality is natural to mankind. Excuse me. And they let you know where where this is coming from. Describe Africa as black and tawny. Yeah. So I just wanted to do that little read, because sometimes the Western Hemisphere, pre-Columbian natives of the Western Hemisphere, were described as copper-colored, black complexion in contemporary accounts with explorers, conquistadors, and Jesuits. This coincides with Franklin's description of tawny. So that's what I'm be letting people know. The American Indians were not these Mongols that you see. Were not. Those were Chino slaves from colonial Mexico, and we've been through this. Some of them, Filipinos and Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, did have, as he said, Asia, chiefly tawny. So they also did have brown hues, but they are not from America. Your Native Americans are not from America. The ones that you see on reservations today, the true American Indians are us American so-called Negro who were reclassified in 1824 and the 1924 Racial Integrity Act. So anyway, that's my little spiel, y'all. Make sure y'all stay with Trust TV, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for that 500 subscribers. Thank you. Peace out, guys. Stay up, stay blessed. Put God first above all else.